Hi everybody, welcome back to Nellie and Ruth Designs. Oh, today I'm going to do something a little bit different and something that I do want to get back into. I do behind the scenes quite often, and that is scrapbooking. Now I know everyone is not a scrapbooker. You've done all of your scrapbooking years ago. I started years ago, but I have so many papers. I have a whole closet full of 12 by 12 papers, and I have all of these kits that I purchased starting, I guess, in 2000. Well, this is 2015, but I have some that go back to like 2011, 2012. It's the Kit Terrific Club, and I used to go to Crops by two sisters, Tiffany and Tara, and it was a wonderful group, and they put together these kits that you could buy. And I used to be part of the monthly club. I would, say yay or nay. They had a deluxe set, and then they had a normal set. I think this one is the deluxe. But these are these are instruction sheets. It kind of reminds me of when Biddy Penny makes her cards, and she has the sheets, and it tells you her paper, how to cut it, the size to cut it, and then you can just assemble the cards, in a mass productive way. So I wanted to try this. I have a slew of these. I probably have 40 or 50 of these kits, and I need to start doing something with them. So I thought it would just be kind of fun. If you want to stick around, go ahead and stick around. Some will go in scrapbooks for the family, for my mom, my dad, their books. Others I will put in a book, and I may just make a smash book with them using the 12 by 12 papers, or some sort of fun book that I can just put collaging in, or magazine images, or whatever. But I've got to start using these, and I thought it would be a nice little diversion, from the norm, from the Rolodex cards and the collaging, that I'm doing. I know y'all like that, but I myself need a little bit of a diversion. So this is what came in the kit, and what I will do is I will explain this to you. I will show you all of this here, and then I will cut a few of these, and then I will come back, and then I will build the pages. I think that would be best, because I can explain how I cut them after I cut them. I don't need to cut them all. It would take forever, because I want to take my time on this. But you can see here, this is the layout, how they want you to lay out the papers. It gives you a picture photo here, and then you have all your embellishments. We'll look at the embellishments. Here are here's A, right there. This is where your photos would go, and then these are all the embellishments in the paper. Here's B, a photo would go here, papers and embellishments, and C. This sheet here shows you exactly what to cut. So this collection here would stay, this is what you're working, this would just stay a 12 by 12. So this is A. And then, I've got to take a look at all this, but everything has to be cut down, all right? But let me show you the papers, and they're really pretty. They're very, what do I want to say? They're very, not old, but vintage style, somewhat. And of course, they are double-sided. So when you're cutting, you have to decide, you have to figure out, you have to go back and look at, like A, you would use this as the background, okay? And then you would add your papers on top of that, all right? So you kind of have to look at all of this and figure it out. But they're all quite pretty. Some of these papers I would be like, oh, I could, you know, I could cut these and I could use these for such things. But if I do that, then I'm not going to achieve my goal. So it's just something different, something new for me to keep my mind going. I've got to get these photos into scrapbooks, and I figured this would just be a really good way to do it. And then they give you plain paper, because you do have to cut the plain paper. Like here, it will show you, well, they want that. They want these all left, but the brown, you have to cut 3 4x6 photos. All right, and leave one sheet. Leave a half of page there. Here's tan. You have to cut the tan out. So yeah, it's going to be somewhat of a challenge for me. That's why I'm going to cut all of this off camera, and then I can come back and we can build some pages. Okay, so I cut all of the, it wasn't as hard as I thought. I got everything cut out according to the instructions here. So that worked out really well, all right. And then they give you samples of what your page might want to look like. Well, I've decided that I'm going to do my own layout. And I found some wonderful vintage photos, and I thought this was just very masculine paper. Instead of putting it in my mom's book, I will start a book for my dad. And these are some really wonderful photos here. This is my dad. This is a very dear friend of his when they were little. It looks like my dad is either reading a story to him. That's my dad right there. So I'm going to be using that photo. These two photos here are very old. You can see that they're quite torn and tattered. My dad did write on the back of these, and I believe Billy took the picture. Notice his blazer just like Stanley's. These, I think these are of my uncle. I think these are of my father's brother. So I want to add these in there. And then this is my dad when he was in the service. Obviously, he was in World War II. He was a tail gunner. And this is my dad right here. This is his brother. This is out in Washington State. So I want to add that one. And I love these photos, the way they have the large rim, you know, the border around them. This is my cousins. These are his nephews right here. Roger and, oh gosh, I can't think of the other one, but they're both deceased now. But those are my cousins. And then this is my Aunt Joanne, who is my dad's sister-in-law. So I'm going to create some pages using all of these. I'm going to set the pictures aside, and I'm going to show you how easy, once everything is cut according to plan, how easy it is to make these spreads. And the other thing I did is I took all of these vintage pieces out, and I'm going to be placing these around the pages. And I have some of these really fun little brads I may add. And then I'll see about the butterflies. I don't know if I'll add them. They kind of take up a lot of space in a scrapbook, and I really don't want bumps and things raised up. These aren't too bad. These chipboard pieces, I do like using them. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start. This is, let's see, what do we got here? One is A, B, and C. This is A. This is B with all the papers that I cut, and then this is C right here. So it doesn't really matter which one you start with, but I'm finding that I like this. I like the way it's so easy to assemble a page. And I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. But I know I kind of rushed into this and I didn't, you know, ask any of you how you were doing. I hope you're all doing well. I want to make sure that my well wishes and my blessings, they all go out to you. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I don't know if you're a scrapbooker, but maybe you could pick up a few little tips if you do junk journaling or whatever, or card making. I still like to work with family photos. I'm just trying to get them all ready for my boys, you know, so they can, you know, take these to their family. They really like all the scrapbooking, so that's really why I do it. Now, I'm not going to, I guess maybe I can put this down. I'm thinking about putting up in the corners here some of these. Where did those little brads go? Here they are. Maybe I could put a couple brads in the corner, or maybe I could put some eyelets. That might be kind of fun. I could put some eyelets up in the corner. So I'm going to, when I do scrapbooking, I guess this is a large, because this is so large, I can use some glue to put this down. So yeah, I was saying, you know, if you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you are a scrapbooker, that is nice. I've decided that on my channel, I'm going to do a little bit of everything. I'm not worried about you know, getting the most views and on some of, you know, my videos. I know, whoops, sorry about that. It's, when I work with 12 by 12 paper, it's kind of like all over the place, especially if I'm filming. Yeah, I'm not really concerned, and you know, I have to get the most likes and all of this. I just want to bring something different to the table. I know, I don't know about you, but I get bored very easily, and I like to change things up. So if you're new, let me know, and welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. And for those that are returning, I really appreciate it. And for all of my members over on Patreon, I hope that you are enjoying everything that we are doing over there. And I'm so happy that you are here watching as well. Now, this is where this little sheet will come in handy. So these are the pieces, all right, that are for this, which are kind of odd pieces. So I'm just going to refer back. This is actually B I'm working on, because I have this strip here. And I want to use both of these pieces, but I'm not real crazy about this layout here. Again, I'm just using it as a little reference type, what I might do with it. And I also have these ribbons, which if I have a tag, I can use them on there as well. So I think because this is for a photo I think I'm going to kind of, and you know what I'm good, the other thing I like to do, which helps me keep things straight because I'm very particular about straight lines when I scrapbook. I like to put my, let me see if I can lift this up without being too wobbly. That's the end of my desk. I like to put my paper in my scoreboard, and that kind of keeps it nice and straight and square. So see that? So I really know lining my papers up here, all right? They aren't crooked and such. So I think I want to do something like this. And this is when you can get your photo out. And I really want to put this photo here, like this. And this is when you can just kind of play. And I kind of like that. Kind of like that, and then I could put a couple of these brads on each side. That might be kind of fun, one on each side there. And then I could write my dad's name down there. And I feel like I have to have this on here, otherwise these are going to kind of go unnoticed. And then here, this is where I thought I could put some just nice little decor, some nice little images on here. Let's see, do I have something else like this? These are all Paris style pieces. Like that. You could always put something like that. I'm just kind of looking over here. Although I kind of like the watch because that's kind of like they're spending time together. And you know, scrapbooking is a lot like, you know, creating a junk journal. It's all about placement and what you like. You know, the other thing I could do, I've got some really cool, well, I wouldn't want to use stamps again on there. I might do some stamping on here for a little bit more. To add a little bit more to that background. This might be kind of fun because my dad, when he went off to war and stuff, he used to write home. I kind of like this right here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, that's 6 inches. I'm going to cut this down. And we'll put that right there because that's a 4 by 6. And we'll get this. I like the black though. I think the black is more dramatic. And then another little tip that I do, and you can do this if you're whatever you have. And if you want to line it up, I just put it over here on the side, and then I just line it right up like that. I don't try to do it freehand. And then I can just make the adjustment. And then I know it's nice and straight. And I got a real thing about things being straight, especially when I scrapbook. I usually, on my photos, I use tape, but I don't mind using the archival glue to glue the papers down. All right, and then I still think I'm going to stamp a little bit on here. So let me grab some stamps in my ink, and I'm just going to do some little bit around the edges. So I pulled these stamps right here, and I thought these would be fun to use. I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to grab this one here, and I'm going to put my paper, I'm going to put my scrap paper down here. Oh my goodness, my husband just drove in, and the girls are, you'd think he had been gone for hours. Well, he has been gone for hours. I'm just going to stamp a little bit like this. Just some little rings here and there, just to give it a little more oomph. There, okay. All right, so that is done. That is done. So let's see here. I think we're going to put, how was I going to do that? That there, and then are these going to hang over a little bit? Let's see, we can play. We can play a little bit here. I know I want this on here, so I'm going to get the photo on there. That's Billy Stanton, Billy Knickerbocker. He's a great friend of my dad. Okay. Okay. All right, so we have that there. Okay. And then let's see. Get this offset a little bit. Now, what I might do too is add a little tiny bit of washi tape to the top of that. I could either do, maybe we'll do that. Add a little bit more light bright up here. Let's see if I have that there. Might be kind of fun to have it on each side. No, I think we'll add it to the top here, just like this. This will be just to brighten that up a little bit. And you can do the same things in your, you know, if you build a junk journal, you can do the same thing in a page such as this. You know, I could even make these into little pockets, or I could put a little something in there, or I can just have this as a pocket and stick something down in there. I could put a tag down in there and write a little something about my dad and Billy. I think that's what I'll do. So I'm going to put these here down like this, and I'm going to use my, just in case I want to take them up and move them. If I was absolutely sure about what I was doing and if I wanted them there, I would we're going to put that one there just a little bit, so if I have to move them I can. And that will go well, just like that. And then I do want to put, I wanted to put that postcard here. And I could have a side tuck. And we're going to put that like that. I think that will be good. Yeah, so I'm going to attach these down. Now this, I don't know if it's a sticker. Sometimes I peel these and then yep, this is a sticker. But what I will do is I will add some glue to this. Okay. So that will go there, like that. This will go here, the pen like that. And then that photo will go right there. Like that. There. And that will go there just like that. Let me get my diaper here. I like to use a diaper, because cloth diaper, and it gets all the fingerprints off of the photo. All right, so there we have page 1, and I'm going to add a few more embellishments here, and I think I'm going to put maybe a couple of these little brads on each side. So let's take a look at that. Oh, I'm just going to rip this open. And maybe, let's see, which ones, I don't want to use the black. I could use the copper. These copper ones would be, those might be nice on each side of that photo. All right. I'm going to see them. Maybe I can bring it up here. I wish I had 4 of these. Oh, let's see. Do I want them there? I think it might add a little bit to them. You won't see them if I put them. Well, it's subtle. I'm going to put them down there. So I have my little Cricut tool here. and I can poke a little hole right here. Oh, Barbie. I might have to get my, oh no, I can poke a little hole right here. You just have to be careful. I don't want to poke too far. I damaged the picture just a little bit because of that. So we got that brad there, but you don't really notice it. So I have that one there, and then I'm gonna put this one right here. Okay, right there. And I think this page will be all set. And then we can move on there. Then we can move on to page 2. So there's the brads right there on each side, which I really like. All right, and then we will work on page 2. We'll put this one aside. And now we're going to bring over this one, which I really like. So let's play with this a little bit here. I'm going to ink up, and I have the two photos here that I'm going to use are these two old. These are really old. You can see how crinkled, and these are really distressed. These are old, old, old. Doesn't have a date on here. Oh, it is. Billy took the picture. Notice this blazer. Stanley's. Notice the face, just like she was. Yeah, this is my uncle. That's my Uncle Bob. That's my dad's brother. And I think that's my dad when he was young. Yeah. Right there. So I'm going to use those two there. We'll get these inked up. Oh, I don't really have anything to report. Just, it's been cold, cold, cold here. We've had wicked winds. Wicked winds. We still have our power, which is good. We do have a generator, but it's been sounding like a jet plane has been hovering over the house. Crazy. All right. All right, so this one here, I just have an idea. I think I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to stitch around this paper here to add a little bit to this. And then these here are going to be accent pieces. And I may do and maybe if I do the accent pieces there, I could stitch around these, which might be kind of fun. I might like to do some stitching. And I think it just would be, I could stitch around here, then I could stitch around these. These I would leave plain because I just want the focal point on the photos here. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And then I could add some things like this down here. So let me get some of this stitched. Not a lot. I might just do some accents around here. And then I will be right back. I stitched around this page here, and I will get this glued down. And I didn't stitch on the other pieces like I thought I might. I want to try to keep it all consistent. So seeing that I did not stitch on the other page that I had done, I'm not going to, I keep hitting my camera with this large paper. And I have to stop. I have to stop that. I want to keep it consistent. I want to continue to use the washi tape. And so I'm not going to be stitching on these here. This I'm going to put this right in the center of the page. And then I can offset off of that. So that will go right there like that, okay? And then I have these two pieces here, which I have to tie these. I think I'd like these photos something like this, okay? I'm going to put them there, and I'm going to want to journal about these pictures. So what I'm going to do, let's get these down first. We're going to put that right there. Boy, that is one old photo. And we're going to put that there. I'll put this one here. My dad's family, his father and brother, were out in Washington State when my dad grew up. So I didn't really know. I never really knew my Uncle Bob. So I knew my cousins and I knew my Aunt Joanne, but I didn't know my Uncle Bob. I might want to push these down a little bit. Might want to just have, just wondering if I should cut these down. Could have it like that. I want to have more of this black show. And this is where you just kind of have fun with it all. So I could have it like that. And then I kind of have black on a diagonal. And then I could take some of these that would be spending time together. I wanted to use that and do that before. I do want to might be able to push that up a little bit. I could put that across the bottom. Or there. This is where I could get lost and just play with all of this stuff. I also want it functional. All right, I'm going to play with this page, and then when it's finished, I will show you what I did. So what I did was I added the washi tape here, and then I just did a messy stitch on this side 3 or 4 times. So I did that on both of them, and I want to use these as journaling cards. So I will type out what I want to say on here, and I will put them down. I'm going to put them down in a horizontal manner, and then the photos can go like this here. Okay. Oh, there goes the taper-do. I will change that in a minute. I will finish putting this down with some glue. It's okay. That is okay. Okay, and I also added, if you hadn't noticed, I have this washi tape here, which I really like. And I added a little bit here on the bottom of each photo just to brighten those up a little bit too. And then these here I will put down. Now, I'm always wondering, I have this ribbon here. I just feel like this just needs a little something. Little something more to accent this card. I'm going to sew a little bit of this ribbon down on here, and I think that will just add a little bit more to this page. It's just a little flat. I have the ribbon sewn down, and I just did it haphazardly. I didn't put any tape down. I just kind of squished it underneath as I was rolling along with it. So this is all set, and I think it adds so much more to the you know, the overall what do I want to say, the overall, not aspect of it, but the overall look of it. I really like it. And I have that on. I wanted to do it this way. Did I want to? Yeah, I want to do it on the outside, right? Yeah, I don't want to do it both on the insides. Yeah. Because I don't want that, I don't want the ribbon to meet. So we'll put this one here. Yep. Yep. And then this one will go that way on the outside. And I don't know about you, but I have to be in the mood, you know, to work with photos or do, you know, my scrapbooking. Sometimes I have really good intentions and I want to, you know, sit down. I don't have any ideas, but I wanted to play with this kit. I wanted to see how it was to pre-cut everything, and I'm really liking it. And then this here, I'm going to put this clock, because again, it depicts time that between the two of them that okay. All right, and then what I will do is I will finish the other, I'll finish page 3 off camera, and then I will come back and I will show you that layout. But yeah, I'm really liking, I think this is such a pretty pattern. Then I can do my journaling here. I'll type out what I'd like to say, and yeah, I'll get the 3rd page done, which will include the pictures of my Aunt Joanne and my dad in his service uniform, and then with his nephews, and then his brother. So this will work out really well. All right, everybody, I will see you in a few minutes. Okie dokie, so I finished the page, and I want to review all 3 here for my scrapbook. I just love these. I love the way they came out. I love all the papers and such. So I did add a little bit. This was my dad with his friend, Billy Knickerbocker. So I typed out a little label right here and glued that to the chipboard cart postal piece here. And then I added, this was just kind of hanging out there, so I went ahead and I used the coordinating washi tape that I had used on the other papers. So that one there is done, ready for the book. This one here, I went and again, I added, this is my father's brother, and I didn't realize it until I looked up the dates. I had to look up my uncle's obituary. He was 6 years older, almost 7 years older than my father. And they lived on opposite ends of the states. My uncle grew up and lived in the state of Washington, and my father grew up here in New York. So they did not, they only reunited and became a family again after my dad joined the service. So this is my uncle. I made this label here and just did, this was his birth year, but I wasn't sure of the age. He looks to be about 10, 11, 12 years old there. So I just did an approximate date. And then I found this wonderful Yiddish proverb that I put on here. Everyone is kneaded out of the same dough, but not baked in the same oven. And I thought that was very appropriate for this page here. And then the final page where I broke away to continue with my uncle Bob, my dad's brother, and my Aunt Joanne, his wife, and then my cousins, my dad's nephews, Roger and Robert. I really liked the way this page came out here. I just left this blank. I added a couple of, I call them brads, they're not brads, but I added a couple of, I wanted to make a bow, so I added those there so I could tie the bow. And I added a butterfly. This was part of the kit. And then again, this piece of chipboard, I just punched 2 holes in here and added another ribbon to soften the page, and a butterfly over my cousins with my dad right there. There's my Aunt Joanne. My Aunt Joanne was a golfer and a beautiful, she was an artist. She painted watercolor. Amazing, amazing. Her father was an architect and built churches throughout the state of Washington. And she did watercolors of all the churches that he did and many other things. Her artwork hangs in a lot of banks and buildings throughout Washington to this day. And then I just made a nice little, printed this out here and then I just added a couple little pieces of ephemera to that page there. So that concludes these scrapbook pages, which I love. I love these kits. I'm going to have to definitely do more of them. When you have your designs, your pre-cut, excuse me, when you have your cutting diagram and what to cut, what papers to use, how to cut, then you can continue if you would, still want to use their suggested page layout. But I really enjoyed just doing somewhat of my own page layout. It just makes it so much easier. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this little video of scrapbooking. I know there's not a lot of scrapbookers out there, but I think it gives you good ideas for your, your journals. You can take a lot of ideas, excuse me, a lot of ideas that I did, the labels such as this, and then the cards, doing the stitching and adding the ribbon and the washi tape. So I think it does, I think the two merge together quite nicely. So I want to thank everybody for watching this, and I'd love to hear your comments. And if you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. Thank you everyone for your support, and I will see you in my next video. Alrighty, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.